Uh, Urmila ma'am, is my screen shared?
Yeah. Your screen is visible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Is it clear now?
Yes, it's fine.
So, good afternoon, everyone. In this session one, AICT Training and Learning Atal Academy EFTP on electrates application in sensors, microelectronics, and actuators. Um, in this, I'm going to present an overview of electrates. So, through this lecture session one, we will see an overview on electrates. So for that, I'm presenting some of the highlights on what are electrates, how they are classified, what are different measurement techniques, some basic theories, materials suitable for electrates. Yes, materials suitable for electrates, and also focuses on the achievements for polymer electrates being employed in energy harvesting, transducers, memories, and biomedicines. Actually, now the question is, what are electrates? Dielectric materials which has been electrolyzed or polarized is called an electrate. An electrate forming material can be in the form of a sheet, a ribbon, or a film coated on the electrode or any other form, which can maintain continuity and has two flat surfaces as permanently charged material. And electrate is formed by polarization in the presence of high electric field or by the application of corona or electron beam injection in combination with heat or light. So basically the three basic process that can take place when the dielectric material is subjected to electric field are space charge polarization near the electrodes, bulk charge trapped inside the material at the interfaces or due to migration, and dipolar polarization due to polar molecules. So different charge trapping possibilities are possible, and you can see through this figure. So while preparing electrate, there exist two important factors required for the formation of electrate, which includes activation energy source and a polarizing field. Normally, heat is used as a activation energy source and electric field as a polarizing field. On the basis of activation energy source and polarizing field, there exist various classes of electrate, such as thermoelectrate, photoelectrate, electroelectrate, etc. So in order to investigate dielectric properties of the material, different polling methods are selected. Thermal polling is the oldest method in which a sample is heated under an applied electric field for a given duration and then cooled to a room temperature while still being energized. And this method of electrate polarization has been extensively adopted for polymer and other dielectric which have low melting point. The charge transport in such dielectric is strongly dependent on temperature. In material, where charge dynamic is sensitive to light, optical polling is adopted. It is similar to thermal polling, except that light is used in place of heat. It is found that the amount of stored energy charge in dielectric material increases with the cooling time and cooling field till it saturates. The two other charging methods, corona charging and electron beam injection, are being applied to materials with higher melting point. In corona charging, a corona grid is placed over the material and the current flowing through the sample is maintained at a constant value. Surface potential can be measured simultaneously and it gives a measure of conduction phenomena in the dielectric as well. In electron beam charging, an electron gun is used. The sample is biased under the electric field and interstitial polarization is detected. A number of variation in these polling methods have been developed to suit the material and with the application view. Now here we'll see the forming procedure. Forming procedure mainly includes heating the sample holder by passing electric current in electric element embedded inside the holder through the thermostat device. When you can see here, when the desired temperature reached, the electromagnet is switched on for a preset field strength. After 1 hour duration of magnetic field, the sample is allowed to cool in the magnetic field. After this fixed time, the sample now removed from the holder for measurements. Actually, on heating, samples, charge carriers and dipoles become mobile. And on the application of polarizing field, charge carriers will move and dipoles will get orient according to the external applied field. During the motion of charge carriers under the influence of field, it gets trapped and dipoles get oriented in a preferred direction. On cooling, these trapped charges and oriented dipoles will get frozen and give rise to the persistent polarization. So based on the type of activation energy source, polarizing field, and the structure of the material, whether it is polar or non-polar. If we look at the application of electrode, there is a wide range of application in almost all areas of First of all, if we say that an MEMS, such as microelectronic mechanical system, it can be used in biomedical, health disposable blood pressure monitor sectors, heart pacemaker, catheter tip temperature sensors. Also in telecommunication, it can be used in hearing aids industries, micro hydrophones, cellular phones, sound localization aid for deaf and blind persons, optical electric microphone, laser scanners, flow sensors, and many more. Now we will see here various theories based on, or we can say the basic theories on electrodes. First one is the two charge theory, which is basically explain the initial charge, its decay, and final charge. So the postulates of this theory are as follows. That is, the charge appearing on a electrode is the combined effect of the two types of charges, which have been termed as iso and ido charges. Ido charges causes a charge density of equal magnitude and opposite polarity on the two surfaces of the magnetoelectrodes. This ido charge represents some sort of internal polarization. The iso charge is a charge of the same nature distributed over entire surface of the magnetoelectrode, and both iso and ido charges decay gradually with time. Apart from these two types of charges, there may be a charge arising due to thermodielectric effect superimposed over these charges. These charges may separate easily by reducing charge appearing on the sample prepared under identical conditions without applying magnetic field. With these charges, there is also charge due to friction, which is developed during preparation and charge measurement of sample. So according to two charge theory, the net charge, you can look at this equation, the net charge on the two surfaces facing north and south of the magnetoelectric plate, simply given by these equations. Now, from the various classes of electrodes, here we will discuss one of them, that is magnetoelectrode. We are going to discuss here, which is discovered by C.S. Bhattakar in 1964. It is a dielectric material with created persistent polarization by the combined action of heat and magnetic field. Instead of electric, we are using a magnetic field. Here, magnetic field will act as a polarizing field, and heat will act as an activation energy source. So what is expected to happen during formation is that normally all dielectrics contain small number of free charge carriers, ions or electron or both. During formation, more carriers or free charges will get created due to thermal excitation. At the same time, there is possibility for the creation of dipoles also. All these affinities will become mobile, and in normal condition, the motion is random. But in present case, the free charge and charge carriers will be under control of perpendicular force created by the magnetic field. And because of this force, they will move in a perpendicular direction to the magnetic field. If the dielectric is not homogeneous, there will be a microscopic domain or grains separated by highly resistive interferences. These grains and domains will prevent the further motion of the charge carrier and will get trapped. There is another possibility also. If the dielectric contains large amount of irregularly distributed traps during their motion, they will get trapped in the traps. On cooling, all these trap charges will get frozen and created persistent polarization. So the charge appearing on the magnetoelectrodes is the combined effect of the two types of charges, which have been termed as iso and IDO charges. As we have already discussed, two charge theory. So the force on charges due to the magnetic field in circular disc shaped samples is considered, and there will be a possibility for the development of charge on the surface perpendicular to the magnetic field. So a lot of work with different materials like waxes, resins, etc. was done. In most of the cases, it is observed that there is a deposition of charge on the surface perpendicular to the magnetic field, even though there is no magnetic force in that direction. Therefore, in magnetoelectric studies, the main objective is to develop a theory to give satisfactory explanation to the development of charge on the surface perpendicular to the magnetic field. So people try to explain it in many ways. So recently, a type E model is developed for finding the orientation, which we will discuss in upcoming slides, and it is published in IEEE. Also, Qureshi-Bhatnagar theoretical model is proposed to explain the effects of magnetoelectric state in the dielectric, which is found to be satisfactory to an extent and experimentally proved and published in AIP. So according to this Qureshi-Bhatnagar model, during the formation of magnetoelectrodes, there are two main factors: non-uniformity in the magnetic field and the temperature gradient, which are responsible for the magnetoelectric state of dielectric substance. So during formation of magnetoelectric samples are in the form of circular disc of radius let it be r and thickness d, embedded in a cavity of brass having two electric coils in both the sides of the sample holder. So when this placed between the pole pieces of the electromagnet, magnetic field B shows distortion near the circular edges because of the difference in permeability of brass and magnetoelectric samples. You can see this in this figure also. Now, see this, that is, if we talk about that is below softening temperature. So the long chain molecules are not mobile, but it is possible that under the combined action of heat and your non-uniformity magnetic field, the side chain are oriented along the direction of the field, thereby causing an increase in dielectric constant and also component of IDO charge. As forming temperature is increased, freedom and mobility of the chain is increased, and oriented side chain push and pull main chains at right angles to the direction of the magnetic field, which causes a decrease in dielectric constant. So in due course of time during storage, because of thermal motion, dipoles get oriented randomly and cause decay in surface charge and recovery of dielectric constant. So to explain these effects, besides the distortion of magnetic field near the edge of the sample, you can see in these figures also, there are temperature counters as look at this figure 1. The closeness of these lines indicate a higher temperature regions. Dipole moving along the temperature gradient in non-uniform magnetic field will have forces of different magnitudes at the two ends of the dipoles. So this will then have an orienting and translator effect on the dipole. Thermal motion of molecules and charge carriers no longer random, but will have some preferential direction shown by these. You can see these arrows. So a charge particle of mass m and charge q moving with a velocity along this preferred direction, making an angle theta with the direction of magnetic field, will move a helical path of the with the time period 2 pi m by qb, And with the we can say the pitch of the helix is 2 pi mb cos theta pi qb. So for angles pi plus minus theta, the charged particle will move in direction opposite to the direction of field of B. So sign of charge decides whether the helix is right-handed or left-handed. The charges are effectively focused at the distance, which is macroscopically multiples of P. Charged particles that are heavier being focused at a distance, which is more than for lighter particles. If mass of positive ion is considered greater than those of the negative signs, this results in the configuration as you can see in this third figure, causing a positive isocharge on the surface of the sample. Now consider the effect of magnetic field on dipole moving preferentially along one of the paths. You can see in this figure also that if a dipole consider a moving along a direction making angular theta with the direction b, and it contains an xy plane, and that is the component of velocity v sine theta perpendicular to b, that produces a force that is BQB sine theta. Its direction being where we can be determined with the Fleming's left-hand rule also. So the force acting on the two ends of the dipoles are oppositely directed and constitute a couple trying to rotate the dipole in the XY plane that is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. So a condition which has been assumed, that is in our previous, we have seen in this. Now, if a random orientation of dipole is considered, number of dipoles oriented in any direction, same, and this can be, look at this figure, that is random orientation of dipoles. Where arrowheads indicate direction of dipoles and distribution of dipoles is spherical symmetry. Due to the applied magnetic field, as dipoles are orienting perpendicular to the field, spherical symmetry of dipole orientation will disturb, and a new distribution have become ellipsoid. You can look at this figure B. Now, if the section of the ellipsoids by a plane AA dash parallel to the surface of the sample is considered, a resultant dipole orientation effect will be produced. But we can say that because of the symmetry about the imaginary line plane AA dash, this will exactly compensated by a similar dipole orientation effect in the opposite direction. Look, in this figure, see, that is, we have a mirror symmetry image about the symmetry line AA. If by some process this mirror image symmetry about the plane AA dash is distorted, then an overall orientation effect shall be produced as shown in this figure. Look at this figure. This shows both types of IDO charges, positive and negative, are possible depending on the distortion of mirror image symmetry about plane AA dash. This distortion is possible if the temperature counters are not symmetrical about the plane AA dash, passing through the center and parallel to the faces. Possibility of this cannot, we are not ruled out because of the following probable region. That is, the wattage of the two heating coils used on the two sides of the plane sample may not be equal. And outer brass plate of the magnetoelectrode container may be of different thickness. And the magnetoelectrode container may not be symmetrically placed between the pole pieces. The surface nearer to one of the pole radiating more heat, or there may be a slight inclination of the container with the vertical. So this is all about the basic theory about this electrodes. So now we'll see the materials for electrodes. So electrodes have thrown a greatest challenges in materials for a wide range of application. So in the past, the shift in focus of electrode research was driven by the development in materials. So to begin with, the waxes, resins were the only electrode materials in 1950s. Inorganic, dielectric, aromatic hydrocarbons and polymeric material were introduced in late 1950s and 1960s. Studies on nonpolar polymers, ceramic, and biomaterials began in 1970s. Doped polymer and blends of different polymer have been investigated with the objective of understanding their structures. Studies of electric pooling and polycrystalline ceramic, which align internal dipoles of the crystalline and their piezoelectric or photoelectric properties, have continuously led to the development of the new materials. Several new polymer composites, that is pyroelectric, piezoelectric materials, have been introduced in 1980s. So Taylor made a composition of composite polymer, ceramic, polymer silicon, and nonlinear optical material using Solvay and spray pyrolysis techniques have been subjected for research in 1990s. Piezoelectric, porous polymer, electroceramic, and silicon-based microsystem are the electric materials of 2000s. In last 50 years, electric search for material has covered a long journey for Carbon-X, advanced polymer ceramic, composite, non-linear optical, porous, and hybrid piezoelectric polymer, thin film to MEMS. Here we can see in a tabular form also, that is a different materials, its suitability, and the final charge after the formation of electrodes, which is developed after the formation. So the polymer electrodes. Polymer electrodes are dielectric material that exhibit a quasi-permanent electrical charge. The type of charge which an electrode has can either be real or polarized, and depending on the type of charges, the electrode may be called charged electrodes and dipole electrode respectively. So charged electrode find their use in photovoltaic solar cells, acoustic transistors, air and gas filters, radiation dosimeters, and micro relay switches. True polarization electrodes with quasi-permanent preferential dipole orientation are employed in hydrophones, ultrasound applications, infrared thermal imaging sensors, microcalorimeters due to their piezo and pyroelectric response, and electro-optic modular and switches, and many more. Here we can again divide this polymer electrode into, that is polar and non-polar. That is the nature and origin of molecular motion in macromolecular polar and non-polar polymers are morphology dependent and can affect the performance of electrodes. The stabilization of polymer structure is due to focuses present in this material, which are generally divided into primary, that is intra-chain, and secondary interchange forces. The primary forces results from the covalent bonding ranging from 2.2 to 8.6 electron volt, linking the chain backbone atoms together. There are four secondary forces in polymer, that is ionic bonding, hydrogen bonding, dipole interaction, van der Waals. These are having different ranges of that is, if we are talking about the ionic, that is 0.43 to 0.87 electron volt. And in hydrogen bonding, it should be 0.13 to 0.30 eV. Dipole interaction, it is 0.07 to 0.13 eV. And van der Waals, it's 0.002 to 0.009 electron volt. So the phenomena associated with the secondary forces are more temperature dependent than their primary counterparts, because of the fact that secondary forces have low values of dissociation energies. The secondary forces strongly influence nature and molecular motion in polymer, which in turn affect their dielectric behavior, charge transport, and charge storage properties. So different aspects of electric research, which are presently under study by the workers of different countries, are charging technique and charge profiles, charge transport and recombination, photoelectric and their optical properties, nonlinear effects of polymer electrode, thermally stimulated effect, photostimulated current or depolarization radiation, charge electrode and their effects, bioelectrodes, ferro, piezo, and pyroelectric in polymer electrodes, and the application of electrode sensor. Now here we see the porous material, that is why porous material is good for this electrates formation or as an electrate material. So it is seen that amorphous or crystalline polymers, when stretched, it shows voids and behave like a porous material. These interstitial sites provides an ideal location for trapping demonstrated increased electrical and mechanical strength. So electric behavior study of stretch polypropylene conducted by Goel and al. Indicated that discontinuity between crystalline and amorphous boundaries due to the presence of voids was responsible for reducing charge mobility and stiffness enhancement in comparison to melt pressed polypropylene, that is by axial oriented thin polypropylene films with multi-layer a gap layers or cellular structures have been recently prepared as electromechanical films. By Karuna charging during manufacture, this film as tested as a sensor. An external force on the EMFI surfaces change the thickness of air voids and charge generated at the electrode. Thus, porosity is proving to be a promising property when used in shoe sale, or it helps in monitoring for the pressure distribution during walking, placed under conventional flooring tiles. It could be used for recovering for the footsteps and other movements of the floor. So the concept of double layer sandwich of one softer and one harder layer with electrode has been introduced in polystyrene and PP film as well as in PTFE and PPS films. These polymer foam electrode transducers are found suitable for measuring finger movement in airborne ultrasound devices for application in industry as well as respiratory detector in the biomedical field. A flat sensor placed between the patient receiving drug and supporting matrices can monitor the effect of drug on respiration. So in nature, porous material exists in many forms in plant leaves as well as in living beings. In fact, porosity in the leg bones of horse is known to give an immense strength. Most biomaterials are porous, having water molecule possibility. Importance of porous material in electric research is being recognized and may reveal entirely unknown features. So as we have after this preparation of electrode, we have certain measurement techniques that is surface charge, XRD, and it may be characterized by with this technique surface charge, XRD, and TSDC. So we'll look at one by one. That is the surface charge study or the surface charge measurement. This study is considered to be a very important study because it reveals mass information. This study reveals, we can say that it reveals some mass information about its behavior, and initial surface charge density may be considered to be measurement of strength of electrode. And the charge decay with time on the hand gives us an ideal idea about the stability of the electrode. This will also facilitate exploring the effect of various forming parameters on the life and nature of the charges developed. The charge on the surface of the electrode can be directly measured by using sorry, electrometer, which measures local induced electric field. Such measurements are repeated at certain interval of intervals depending on the life of an electrode. Between measurements, it is necessary to keep the sample in short condition by wrapping it in aluminum foil. So this method is introduced in 1930s and still being used for testing electric charge in dosimeters. This is the apparatus for measuring the surface charge measurements. So the quality of electrode is mainly decided by its stability. The dynamic of activation process, time and field dependence of the carrier consideration and the conduction band are responsible for the electrode stability. The stability of electrode charge is predicted by considering the rate of current carrier generation in activation process and the rate of annihilation due to carrier capturing and recombination. So some other factors that affect the stability of the electrode are resistivity, degree of crystallinity, and temperature at which the crystalline domains of the polymeric system used for the electric fabrication undergo translation motion, the charge decay occurs mainly because of the following reason. The first one, that is the deposition of compensation charge from the atmosphere. And another one, that is the internal decay through the conduction or drift. And or we can say it may be perhaps accelerated by excessive humidity. And so in order to find out the stability of liquid, surface charge decay as prepared liquid was observed continuously. So here is some decay curves from my work, which shown through this graph. Now we'll look for the another characteristic, that is XRD, that is X-ray diffraction technique. Here we'll see, as I told you, about the type E orientation. So before that, we will mm, have a look of other orientation pattern which earlier used by other researchers, that is type A, B, C, and D. That is, if we talk about, that is why a type A, B, C. First, we will see about the type A, B, C orientation patterns. That is, while preparing liquids, long chain molecules of certain substance show orientation effects when they are solidified under high DC or a magnetic field. So many worker reported preferred orientation X-ray photographs of electrate. It has been found that different electric material give three different types of orientation. So the intensity distribution around the rings shows that the angular position of the maxima with respect to the field direction are different in the three types of orientation. Sorry. The orientation pattern observed in long chain compounds have been interpreted and classified as type A, type B, and type C. So for the type A, we can see in this figure, type A, figure 1, 2, and 3. Look at the figure center 1 of the type A, that is, in this case, only 4 sharp maxima may occur on the photographic film of symmetrically distributed at an angle of psi f with the field direction. The expected diffraction pattern for three types of orientation of the cell with respect to the field direction are shown in this figure. You can look at this one, type A with the 3, and type B for the, look at this figure 3B and 3C. So in type A orientation, if you look at this figure also, the B axis of the unit cell is in the direction of the field direction, and A axis perpendicular to the field. So the ring 1, 1, 0 shows 4 maxima symmetrically distributed. But in type B orientation, the unit cell can have any orientation around the field direction with the long chain perpendicular to the field and diagonal for the basal plane of the unit cell in the direction of the field, as you can see in this figure 1B. So the expected diffraction for type B orientation, as shown in this figure 3B. In this type of pattern, the intensity maxima with respect to the field direction are found to be suited with entire different angular position. Just a minute. So this type B orientation of the unit cell, we can say that the expected diffraction for the type B orientation is, or you can say this, in this type of pattern, the intensity maxima with respect to the field direction are found to be situated at entirely different angular position when compared to type A orientation. Here, the intensity maxima for both 110 and 200 rings are found to be distributed in the direction of the field. So the third type of orientation, designated as a type C, has been reported by other researcher. In this type, the long chain is perpendicular to the field, and the A axis is along the direction of the field, and B axis is perpendicular to it. So the theoretical model to explain the type C orientation as shown in this figure 1C, we can see that a comparison of type A and type C. Type C is similar to type A orientation. When type E is, or we can say that the type is just rotated to 90 degree, will get a type C orientation. So keeping the direction of field constant, like type A pattern, type C also gives a 4 intensity maxima on the ring 110 ring and 2 on 200 ring. So the special features in all the three types of orientation is that the long chains are perpendicular to the field direction. The cells can have any orientation around the field direction subjected to the field, subjected to the additional long chain are perpendicular to the field direction. The cells can have any orientation around the field direction. So we have typically these type A, type B, and type C orientation. With this type A orientation, we can say the B axis of the unit cell in the direction of the field, and type B orientation, that is diagonal of the basal plane in the direction of the field, and type C orientation, A axis of the unit cell in the direction of the field. These are the basically difference between A, B, and C types of orientation. Now another one that is in that is type D orientation pattern. In type D orientation, the unit cell is like parallelepiped shape, and the long chain molecules are parallel to the length of the parallelepiped, or we can say the C axis. In the model as shown in a figure, the magnetic field F is in the plane of the paper. The orthorhombic unit cell is at the center of the sphere P, and C axis is in the plane of paper, and the X-ray beam is perpendicular to the field direction and passes through O. X-ray film is below the plane of paper and perpendicular to the X-ray beam. In this case, the normal to the planes 110 and 200 lie in the basal plane. The sphere P cuts the sphere of the reflection along the circle MT M dash U. Look at this figure MT U. The crystallites can have all possible orientation about the C axis. This equivalent to rotation of the unit cell about the C axis. The poles of the normal to the plane lie on the circle R, S, M dash, M, R. This cuts the circle or reflection at M and M dash, producing two maxima at M and M dash. Look at this figure 2A. Sorry, I just mentioned only A here. So similarly, the poles of the normal to the 200 plane also cut the circle of reflection the angular position, because the normal to the plane 110 and 200 lie in the same plane. The corresponding maxima are reported at N and N dash. If the C axis is imagined at the different position, as shown in this figure, we can say that orientation patterns will be obtained by rotating the unit cell about the C axis. So this model explained the occurrence of maxima by rotating, occurrence of maxima on this 100 and 200 rings at the same angular position. So similar pattern when X-ray diffraction photographs are taken with the carbon of X of magnetoelectrics. So it's not explained in this manner. So for the occurrence of maxima at the same angular position, the researchers has concluded that the preferred orientation occurs when magnetoelectrics are prepared. So on the basis of this literature, different types of pattern, it is observed that this method is used for the rectangular samples using flat transmission techniques. Now, as far we know that nobody is adopting such type of old methods. So in view of this explained patterns, especially that is type D, I have designed a new method for the first time, that is named as type E, which is precise and accurate using the existing technology, type E pattern. So X-ray diffraction technique have widely used to investigate the structural features of X-ray of polarized dielectric showing persistent internal polarization. So studies confirm that the nature of electrode used to produce polarization considerably affects those dielectric which contain permanent dipoles. So the degree of orientation texture obtained in them has been found to depend on the polarizing field. So to study the influence of magnetic field and polarizing temperature on the structure of magnetoelectrode, X-ray diffraction technique have been employed with the using this, we can say, the Model D8 advanced diffractometer. So in order to estimate the orientation produced, intensities were measured along the four position, that is four different angles, that 0 to 180, and position 1, position 2, position 3, and 4. One, that is 0 to 180, position 2, 45 to 225, 90 to 270, and position 4, 135 to 315, respectively. So the different angular wait a minute. So in order to measure the intensity distribution curve with the using this X-ray diffraction technique, I've developed a new model that is named as I told you, that is type E pattern. So this model, look at this figure 2A, 2B, 2B, and 2C and D. In this, just now I told that with the reported four patterns earlier, these figures with the reference axis AA dash is the direction of field, and with respect to the reference axis, the X-rays are falling at 0, 180, 45 to 25, 90 to 70, 135, and 350. The different angular positions for X-rays are achieved by rotating the sample in different in these four different positions. Now, for the after doing this type B orientation pattern, there are some results which show this in this graph. So for the magnetoelectrode prepared with polarizing temperature, I just explaining the only with the 80 degree Celsius with homogeneous field, that is 0.74 Tesla to 0.85 Tesla. So it is observed that the intensity maxima over meridian position, and which shows also this in figure, due to the preferred orientation are prominent for magnetic field 0.85 Tesla. The intensity maxima lie near meridian position for 0.74 Tesla field, while for 0.85 it is placed through meridian position. So, however, in both the cases, the maxima are not profound. Diffraction pattern observed with X-ray parallel to the field. So the direction shows little variation in intensity over equatorial position. So we can say that the X-ray diffraction studies on porous polypropylene magnetoelectrode prepared with different polarizing temperature and a fixed magnetic field shows a varying preferred orientation at 0.74 Tesla. Here we can say the two maxima were obtained at the direction perpendicular to the magnetic field for polarizing temperature 70, 80, and 100 as shown in this figure. So we can say at the polarizing temperature below 80 degrees Celsius, there are with this polypropylene, we are talking about the here with the result of this polypropylene porous material. So at polarizing temperature below 80 degrees, there are the cyclotic groups, that is number of molecules clustered together form a group having a blurred boundaries, which are responsible for orientation. So the dimensions of these group depends upon the temperature and external field. As temperature increases, these size of these groups is reduced, and above 80 degrees Celsius, these groups break into individual groups. The interaction of magnetic field with these groups will occur through local microcurrent likely to be present within each group. This current in the presence of magnetic field will cause the groups to orient themselves in preferred direction against a random thermal motion. If the temperature is decreased, separately the dimensions and orientation of these groups cannot be instantaneously follow the change in external condition. Moreover, the locked in strain due to solidification of some part of the material also causes a change in dimension and orientation of the groups. So therefore, in the present case, two factors, external magnetic field and inhomogeneous stress produced during cooling may be responsible for the orientation in the presence of magnetic field, and dimensions of the cyclobatic groups increase when both factors come into play, causes preferred orientation of the crystallite in the magnetic field. However, it is worth mentioning that absence of magnetic field, the mechanical stress due to inhomogeneous stress cannot reduce a sensible strain. Now, the other measurement technique, that is a TSDC process. It's a just we can say the opposite process with the formation of or a reverse process of formation of electrate formation. So the TSDC, that is thermally stimulated discharge current. Sorry. The discharge current of dielectric is extremely weak at room temperature, but can be enhanced by light or thermal activation or by other means. The TSDC is an external current of the polarized sample subjected to heating at a uniform rate. So it it has proved that to be an extremely useful experiment technique to study the dipole behavior or charge trapping characteristics, as well as to provide the information on total internal charge stored. So this technique has been preferred for the study of electric effect in polymer and bio materials, as it provides information on different phases transition as well as the total charge stored. Also, we can say the short circuit current, that is GS, is given with this equation, and we can also find out the activation energy, or simply with the help of this TSDC spectra. We have three kinds of peaks we have, that is dipolar reorientation, that is alpha peak, alpha, beta, and gamma. Beta, that is excess charge motion, and ohmic conduction peak. So there are various parameters which can be calculated with the help of this TSDC spectra to get the knowledge about the electrate. So we can also calculate the activation energy, relaxation time, equivalent frequency, charge trapping density, charge storage, peak temperature, peak current. So there are various methods. Here, yeah, I have just draw some curve with this TSDC with the Bookie plot. That is, we also call this as graphical integration method. There are another methods also, that is Garlick-Gibson method, or which we call as initial dice, Bookie-Fishes, and Cobble methods. Now here look at the graph or the TSDC spectra, and with the help of this we can calculate the different parameters with the help of this TSDC spectra. So in all, we can say that after this characteristic or with the help of this measurement techniques, and that is the surface charge measurement technique, X-ray diffraction, and TSDC are the important studies for the characterization of magnetoelectrides. And the study of X-rays diffraction gives an idea about the nature of orientation of crystallites and porous polymer. X-rays analysis also that shows the polarizing temperature and strength of polarizing field, which play an important role in the formation of preferred orientation. And the last, that is the thermal stimulated. Here only I have discussed on the three characteristics. So the thermally stimulated discharge current measurement, which is to be proved to be an extremely useful experimental technique to study the dipolar behavior or a charge trapping characteristic, as well as to provide the information on total internal charge stored preferred orientation. These are the references from which I made this presentation. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr.